Hello, everybody. E.J. Schultz here, news editor at Ad Age, and welcome to the latest installment of our monthly look at purpose marketing hits and misses. Joining me, as usual, is our guest, Thomas Kolster, who is the founder and creative director at Copenhagen-based Goodvertising agency, which advises companies and organizations on how to turn environmental, societal, and health risks into market opportunities. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you so much. Good to see you all today. Good to see you, EJ.
So it looks like you have a summer shirt on. Summer is about here. So what better way to start off our hits than with an ice cream brand? And this is actually a Unilever brand called Walls, which is out with an ingenious upgrade to the price boards that ice cream sellers use in Pakistan. The boards actually include solar panels that can help keep freezers going during power grid outages, which apparently happens quite a bit in the country. Let's take a look at the effort, which comes from Lola Mullenlow, and then we'll talk about it.
Sunny days bring many great things. They bring people together, friends closer, lots of ice cream, and lots of heat. And with lots of heat also comes
power cuts across Pakistan.
Power cuts.
Pakistan ranks #1 in power cuts across the world. While this is not good for any business, it's particularly disastrous for ice cream.
कोल्ड ड्रिंक अगर गर्म हो जाए तो उसे दोबारा ठंडा किया जा सकता है, लेकिन अगर आइसक्रीम पिघल जाए तो जाया हो जाए।
बड़ी दुकानों में जनरेटर होता है, मगर छोटी दुकानों का क्या?
Well, there is something thousands of small shops across this country do have. Price boards. Responsible for 1/3 of all of the ice cream sales, they stand all day long under the sun. And that's a lot of power. Walls presents the Solar Price Board. Our most powerful media now stands against power cuts.
We had to find an alternative energy source because of the country's already overloaded electrical grid. Solar energy was the perfect answer, but we had to tackle some technical aspects. First, we used a special ink that allows the sunlight to pass through, and it's connected to a battery that lasts as long as an average power outage. In Pakistan, the power cuts last from 3 to 5 hours, and it can supply clean energy for up to 6 hours with a single charge. This way, a freezer can run almost independently from the electrical grid, making it immune to power cuts.
Shopkeepers connect it to the freezers, and whenever the power goes off, the battery automatically switches on.
प्राइस बोर्ड ग्राहक को अट्रैक्ट करता है और जब वो दुकान के अंदर आ जाते हैं तो और दूसरी चीजों की भी खरीदारी कर लेते हैं।
ये प्राइस बोर्ड ना सिर्फ आइसक्रीम बेचता है बल्कि उसे जमा के भी रखता है।
This is part of Wall's global sustainability efforts in 14 markets, including solar price boards, solar kiosks, energy-efficient cabinets, climate-friendly refrigerants. Can there be anything cooler than that?
The owners are happy, the customers happy, and the kids, well, they seem happy as well. Thanks to Walls, this summer, happiness won't melt away.
So while we cannot attest to how well this actually works, it does seem like a pretty cool idea, no pun intended, and an example of a brand doing something that is actually useful rather than entirely stunty. What's your take on it, Thomas?
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, we keep the planet and ice cream from melting, right? There's a couple of things that I really like about it. I mean, first up is obviously that because of those power cuts, it does seem like a clever, small, local solution that actually does work in a country like Pakistan. Secondly, in a country like Pakistan, where solar panels might not be that widespread, and this concept of green electricity isn't that widespread, actually seeing a sign like that in your street, down at your local ice cream sales guy, I think also sort of spreads the awareness about all of this stuff. Also, it combats food waste. And one thing I actually really like about this case is as well that they also show all the other stuff that they do. So they do show that, yes, they do have much bigger solar panel farms. They do show the upgraded refrigerators, the bicycle deliveries and all that stuff. So I think it's a pretty sort of 360, well thought through case. And so one could have said, we've had, if people know the case from Budweiser, for example, the Energy Collective, where Budweiser encourages its partners to buy green electricity. I think this one sort of turns a medium that's there already into sort of like a little powerful advertising and green power adverts. I love it. It's clever.
Yeah, it'll be obviously Unilever global company. It'll be interesting to see if they adopt this in a wider market, other markets, other countries, to see if this kind of can spread. Obviously, there's even some places here in the US that might be able to make use of stuff like this. So we'll be watching for that. On to our next hit comes from Volkswagen. It tackles the problem of truckers falling asleep in Brazil. The automaker's trucks and buses division partnered with a Brazilian consumer rewards program called Livelo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. We're watching this work here in the background. And together they developed technology where an app that tracks sleep is actually integrated with this rewards program. The idea is this: the better sleep the truckers get, the more rewards they can earn. And the effort comes from Allmap BBDO, and it's called Trucker Nap, NAPP, clearly a play on app. Why did you like this one, Thomas?
I mean, I've seen other stuff targeting truck driver. There was a initiative some years ago called Safe Cab by Ford, which was this sort of cab you would put on, and then that would keep you from falling asleep, which to me felt quite stundy. I know it did quite well in the award cycles, but what I like about this one is it's instantaneously scalable. So it can be applied tomorrow. Probably truck drivers don't get a lot of perks. So just these small perks might be that little thing that might encourage them to use an app like this. So I think it's a really clever way of Volkswagen to get in the hands of those truck drivers, show that they understand them, that they know how hard they work. And yeah, so it's scalable, it's clever, it builds value to the brand. So there's a lot to like for me. And, if it does save lives, amazing.
My question is, it feels like it's putting a lot of pressure on you to get a good night's sleep. I wonder if that might work against you. Like, you're having a little anxiety over, oh gosh, I really need to sleep. I can't fall asleep. I'm losing points.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to the truck drivers' wives or husbands to see if they love the app as much as this.
Maybe they could add like a third partner with like a meditation app to kind of play in the background or something like that.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to our last hit of this episode, and it comes from David Buenos Aires, the agency, and they created a campaign for breast cancer nonprofit MACMA, M-A-C-M-A, and this sort of plays into the hype around AI and machine-generated things of all sorts, which we're seeing a lot of lately, but this has a much different twist. Let's take a look.
Come with me, my love, to the sea of love. I want to tell you how much I love you. I love you.
This was really nicely done, very effective. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I love it. It's insightful. It's nicely directed. It's surprising. And I think in a category where we tend to see sort of a lot of fear, I think going down this strategic direction that's sort of full of hope and love, I think is actually exactly that thing that might actually get women to go and take that test. So I'd be very surprised if it wasn't also a very effective ad. I think the challenge is quite often in this space that when we sort of use fear and negativity as, for example, on the cigarette packages where we see sort of cancer-ridden lungs on the packaging. We sort of tend to avoid the campaign and keep smoking. I think this one sort of instills this sense of, I can go, I don't need to be fearful, there is hope. So it's a very lovely message in a time, in actually a difficult time in this day and world where there's a lot to be anxious about.
And it holds your attention because you're like trying to figure out, well, what is the AI here that they're promoting? And it's not at all, right? It's something completely different. So I like that.
Yeah, it's because a lot of people have fear around AI, and I thought, okay, where's this commercial actually heading? So it actually plays so well on this sort of classic surprise and advertising, but this one really get away with it. It's a lovely little emotional piece of work. Yeah, I could see it twice and I'd still enjoy it.
Yeah. All right, moving into our misses. First up is insecticide brand Sapolio, which attempts to tackle dengue fever in Purdue by disrupting mosquito egg laying. The program tackles the buckets that residents use to store water, with the brand creating what it calls the Guardian Toad, which is essentially a solar-powered plastic toad that paddles through the water, creating waves that ward off egg-laying mosquitoes. We really just have to watch this. I can't really explain it. Let's watch it.
It's 2024, and Peru is reporting the highest number of dengue cases in its history. 80% of the population in the most affected areas does not have access to clean water and is forced to use plastic containers to store a large amount of it, creating the ideal place for the mosquito to reproduce. Now, here's the thing. The dengue mosquito can only lay its eggs in still water. So we thought, what will happen if we put it in motion? Sapolio, the #1 insecticide in Peru, presents the Guardian Toad.
Nos inspiramos en la identidad de Sapolio para desarrollar un dispositivo que pueda mantener en movimiento constante el agua de las superficies de cualquier recipiente, transformando el hábitat predilecto del mosquito en un lugar hostil para que coloque sus huevos, logrando una protección asegurada de un 92%.
Dadas las condiciones, el dispositivo debía ser autosustentable. Por eso utilizamos una celda solar para que el movimiento de las hélices y el agua sea continuo y pueda operar de forma autónoma.
I will stop it there, Thomas. Why didn't you like this one?
I mean, for me, it's not a Guardian Toad. It's a gimmicky toad. I can't really see this have any serious applications. To be honest, it's everything I sort of hate around some of these more gimmicky stunts in the impact space. First up, you can say, how much does that sort of toast device, whatever it is, toy cost? How would you be able to sort of scale that up? I mean, the easiest way to sort of combat that problem would be to put a lid on that bucket of water or some sort of textile. And if the client really loved that toad mascot so much, I'm sure you can actually print that on the lid. So that's at least a piece of free advice for the next campaign for next year. Yeah, so I'm not happy about the impact. I don't really feel that this delivers on anything, and it's not really reflecting good of the brand either. It makes them look more like a sort of clown than a hero, unfortunately.
It's sort of the opposite of the solar-powered ice cream boards, which are actually useful and ingenious and something that not anyone could just create. Like, I'm sure people have toys from their kids lying around that they could throw in the bucket that would basically do the same thing, right?
I was hoping when I saw it that there was some sort of smart twist at the very end of it, but there wasn't. Yeah. And even that expert that sort of comes in, I mean, oh gosh, this, I hope this ad had never been made, to be honest. It doesn't, yeah, sorry.
All right, well, we're coming out of the misses with a bang. On to the next one. Comes from Wild Farmed, a UK-based regenerative food and farming company that promotes its environmentally friendly bread with an ad from Bountiful Cow that attempts to turn bread eating into quite a nature-filled experience. Let's watch.
Have you heard about the bread that's transforming lunchtimes and landscapes? Well, neither has Gemma, but she's about to. Reconnect to the wild. Wild farmed, life-changing bread, now at Waitrose.
My first question is that bread or cannabis that she's eating?
I think that's a good point. Maybe that's a bit of free product advice for them, free product development advice. I'm a little bit sad about not liking this ad in some ways, because I do think the ad takes up a topic that's so incredibly important: regenerative farming. No doubt about it that if more brands embraced regenerative farming, that would really matter, because the soil sort of sucks up the carbon emissions. It keeps the water in the soil, and something that's very important to combat the climate emergency, especially during periods of drought. So having such a good story and messing it up, I don't know how they can do it. What I don't like about the ad is it reminds me of sort of early 2000s car ads when biofuels were launched, and they would have these cars and they would be covered in nature and animals and all this stuff. I even saw an example the other day in London where I walked around with an office building, concrete office building, same thing. They talk about carbon neutrality. There's all these flowers, all these animals. And I think this is one thing, at least in the European Union, the sort of Green Claim Act really want to get rid of. Yes, there's a good story to be told. I just don't think they do it in a very, very convincing way. And it annoys me a little bit, because the packaging is tongue-in-cheek. The sort of life-changing strapline does actually have merits to it, but they just take themselves too seriously, and they end up looking like a cannabis ad.
Would you have preferred something a little more informational and educational, or what would have been the way to do it here?
To me, it seems like Wild Farm want to be a bit fun, tongue-in-cheek, a little bit provocative, but the ad just doesn't portray that. I mean, it's everything between a bad shampoo ad that probably has some slight eco-credentials, and as I said, probably biofuel car ad from early 2000. I don't really know what to say about it besides that. It's a shame. Good story, missed opportunity.
All right, moving from bread to Whoppers.
Our
last miss comes from Burger King, which attempts to give comfort to bald-headed people in Brazil by targeting a particular type of baldness that it dubs the bald through. Let's just watch this one.
There are many kinds of bald heads. The magic 8 bald. The Baldilocks, the Northern Hairy Sphere. But there's one that's truly special for us at Burger King. The Bald Through. Enter here, order here, exit here. And now it's time for this beauty to be celebrated. Show your bald through at BK Drive-Thru and get a much-deserved Whopper. The Bald Through. For those who can't get the Whopper out of their heads.
So this is another ad from David in their Sao Paulo office. And before you go after it, Thomas, I'm just going to quote what they told the Drum about this ad. Yeah. They said that in just a few days of the campaign, hundreds of sandwiches were distributed, and the action became the most talked about on social media, a real success. The campaign upholds the lighthearted tone synonymous with the brand's other successful campaigns in Brazil, demonstrating cheerfully and amusingly that BK embraces everyone with open arms. It feels like you beg to differ.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like. I love humor in advertising, and I think it's okay to sort of be tongue in cheek. But I kind of feel like, would you really laugh with them or at them? I mean, that's, I think, the key challenge here. I mean, I run around with the sort of golden arches in my hair. Would I like to make people to make fun of that, or have a sausage brand do like a big nose day? I'm not sure. I don't think the sort of time is right for this sort of advertising where we look at diversity and inclusion, where we look at representation and misrepresentation. I'd have preferred if they'd sort of made fun about themselves or something like that. I just, yeah, I still kind of feel like you'd ridicule the people who run around bald. You're not really celebrate them as heroes if that's really what they want to do. So I think it's a bit of a cheap promotion and a cheap way of creating talk in town. I'm sure what will happen is you'd send that promo to one of your bald friends and you'd say, hey, you can get a free Whopper, you're bald. I'm not sure that's the sort of stuff we need, especially if you're targeting young people that might not be as good at understanding the difference between sarcasm, irony, or for that sake, bullying.
Yeah.
It's not a really bad one. It is kind of funny. But, if you want to do this right, and I know Burger King has done a lot for diversity and inclusion, I just don't think this is in line with what the brand should believe in and its values.
Okay. We'll have to leave it there today. I want to again thank you, Thomas Kolster, who is the founder and creative director of Good Advertising Agency. My name is E.J. Schultz, news editor at Ad Age. I want to give a special shout out to our producer, Lauren Ciardio, and of course, invite everyone to follow along our daily coverage at Ad Age, where we cover lots of these types of campaigns and other things on Ad Age, as well as creativity. And stay tuned next month for our next episode of Purpose Marketing Hits and Misses. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.